Hi everyone, this is another Off the Post. I put the camera on myself this time. We're remembering. I'm Courtney, joined by Jen again, and Jackie's back! Yay! We haven't seen Jackie. Jackie, what's been going on since we last seen you? Quite a while ago.
Well, honestly, nothing but work. And finally, our schedules worked out, so I'm glad to be back on. It's been a while.
Yay, we're glad to have you. So we're going to just get into it. Got a lot of U.S. Women's National Team stuff to talk about. I have one game to review. We have two games to preview, which kind of really go into, not really one game, but it's kind of all done in one section because why not? And then any other, stuff we're going to talk about. Probably there's been some more developments in the Hawaii situation since we had a show a couple days ago, so we'll probably chat about that. And, yeah, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, hashtag WOSO Talk on Twitter, and we will be happy to chat with you. So let's just get right to it. Starting with Jackie first. U.S. Women's National Team versus Trinidad and Tobago earlier in the week. What were your expectations of that game, and where they met?
Well, for me, I wanted, of course, a win, which we did easily, and then also I wanted to see some of the young faces get significant time, which I think they did. Horan got in. She played really well. Played the full 90, I believe. Hinkle got in the second half, and then McCaffrey also popped up. So nothing really too dramatic or that I thought would happen, but just to see, new faces and get the win, so we did both.
Awesome. Jen, how about you? What were your expectations for the game going in?
Pretty much the same thing. The last show I kind of talked about my expectations, so I won't go too much into that again. But, yeah, kind of the same thing. Just a nice, easy win. Get to see new faces out there. Sonnet got her second cap, too, so that was nice to see as well. The fact that Jill Ellis is not just throwing them in there like, okay, let's see what you can do once and then peace out, but also kind of giving them more opportunities to shine, so that was cool.
Were you happy with the lineup and the subs that were used throughout the game? Jen, sorry.
I'm always happy when Tobin Heat starts, so yes. Crystal Dunn also, she had a fantastic game. Jay Hinkle, I love seeing her go in because something that maybe I didn't see as much in the NWSL, and I think that was just, the team she plays on in the NWSL. No offense to them. But, something that I've noticed...
They're going to get it. They're going to get it later on in the show, so it's okay.
Something that I noticed with the national team now is that, she's really freaking fast coming up that flank. And that's really nice to see because we're used to, maybe having kind of a brick wall back there, and she made a lot of space and took advantage of that and plowed through, so that was awesome for me to see. So I like seeing her get subbed in, and Krieger getting subbed in too for me was good. So I always love it when my Spirit people are out on the field. So yeah, I was happy with it.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I was a bit disgruntled that I feel like she hasn't really been getting some playing time lately. And I get you want to get the younger people in, but I was just like, oh my god, really? Come on. So that was a-okay. Jackie, were there any players that stood out to you either positively or maybe not so positively?
Well, first off, I think we can all agree on Lindsay Horan. I think, even though it was against TNT, which is not one of the top 5, top 20 teams, either way, I think she played really well in that position that she hasn't played in a long time. And for Jill to let her go the full 90, I think that was a huge confidence booster for her, considering that against Brazil, she was on the wing and did not play well. But this game, scoring a goal and getting 2 assists, she looked really comfortable for me. And I thought Alex Morgan, all night hustled up and down the field and did what she could. I believe did she get a goal? I don't know if she did or not, but either way, I think she played really well considering her, list of injuries has piled up here. But yeah, for me, Horan really was the one that stood out the most.
Yeah, I'm trying to think about Morgan. I just feel like there were so many, like, the second half was kind of just like, whoa, all the goals happened.
Yeah.
I'm going to say I was surprised to see, like, Ellis kind of change positioning, I think, in the lineup as far as, like, Horan, and I think Heath maybe switched, which was fine. I think my issue with Horan, and a lot of people's issue with Horan last time, that she just, I feel like she had, I don't know if it was because she was on the outside, I just feel like she had a lot of ground to cover and didn't necessarily cover it that well. I think there was, I think it was a lot improved. I think when I saw the starting lineup, it kind of went, oh God, really? But then she had one heck of a game, so that's awesome. And then for me, I'll echo Alex Morgan. I think we'll talk about the first half shortly, but I think, she had that nasty collision with the goalkeeper, and I think sometimes people think about Alex Morgan and they think, like, oh, she doesn't want to get hurt, like she's, like, fragile, blah, blah, but she, like, went all in, was, like, committed to that play, and thankfully wasn't hurt, but, she wasn't shying away from, trying to get the ball, and, like, I don't know whether she was able to even see the goalkeeper if you're focused on the ball or not, but just the fact that she was, like, really committed to the play and not kind of worried, like, oh, I'm going to be careful because, like, we're on turf and, like, whatever. So, like, I think anytime, and they all were too, but just, like, that's something that stood out in my mind. Yeah, like you're saying, like, I think she did score a goal. And then she had one also that was offside. She wasn't, Color was offside. I remember that now. But yeah, I think that was great. And then I think, like, I don't know if I mentioned, but Kristen Press, I think, to come in, like, second half and was just like, I'm going to own everything and score all the goals. I think people are very critical of Press sometimes, and I understand that because she sometimes is hit or miss. But I think she came in and was like, whoa, awesome. And I think that's what people were looking for from Kristen Press also. But yeah, so that's, as far as, like, players and subs, like, I think, everything kind of looked good. And she did a little bit of, I'm glad that Henkel got in at halftime. That's something that I said the other day on the show. Like, they should get in at halftime, not with, like, 20 minutes left. So I appreciated that. Yeah, so I don't really, like, for once, didn't really, mine is Krieger not starting, but, I get it. It's fine. Mine is that.
Sick. I think she was feeling a little sick, they said. I think. I'm not positive on that, but.
Oh, yeah, I don't, that's a good point. I don't. What'd you say, Jen? Did I mention that? Yeah.
The day before, she hadn't. Yeah, she did an interview. Like, she wasn't expected to play. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I miss clearly. Like, I sometimes miss things. So I'm glad that we're here to. So that makes sense. Then I feel less bad about. I feel less annoyed or less angry as a Krieger fan. Then that's great. So we'll move on just to kind of keep things going. We'll start with Jen first. Just a couple of thoughts on the first half.
Me?
Oh, we're starting with Jen. Sorry.
For me, the first half was like. For me, the first half was like a lot of chances being created, but not a lot of finishes. For me, it was a lot of Lindsay Horan really showing herself in the role she was in. We've all been concerned for a little while about who could take Lauren Holliday's place, and I think Lindsay Horan filled that role nicely. With Pino's injury, Tobin could head out to my favorite spot for her over on the left flank. Really well over there. She created a lot of chances, and I know people are very critical of her on set pieces a lot of the time, but I actually like her on set pieces. I thought her ball delivery was beautiful on her free kicks, on her corner kicks. So I like seeing that Crystal Dunn getting in the seams like she always does is there. We couldn't get it in the first half.
Mm-hmm. Jackie, what were your thoughts on the first half?
Yeah, for me, the first half was a bit, I thought our pace of play was really slow, and I think the PK that we got, that probably shouldn't have happened. I didn't really agree with that. I was kind of like, really? And credit to Trinidad for keeping themselves in the game for the first half. That probably wasn't expected. I didn't think they would do that for the whole first half. So credit to them. But I thought our play was a bit unorganized.
I think going out to first half, I thought the first half was like a mess. Not to bring, I mean, we're gonna talk about Turf at some point, but like I thought that field looked terrible. And again, I'm not getting too much into it. I think now like looks aside. I mean, things look on TV maybe differently. I don't know, but anytime that I know they're playing on football stadium, that's probably been used recently or will be used again. But anytime that there's like football numbers and big things on the field visible, still it's kind of like meh. But I just thought the first half was brutal. We saw like I think it was Lauren Hutchinson go off. I think she tore her ACL like within 7 minutes for Trinidad and Tobago, and that's horrible. And that's horrible loss for Trinidad and Tobago. And then, like I said, Alex Morgan, colliding with Forbes, and she thankfully got up and was fine. But that was also very rough. And then, not to keep going with the turf thing, but granted. Arguably, I know people have thoughts on Tobin Heath's low socks, but anyway, she can wear her socks wherever she wants. The fact that she like slid on the ground and like tore her shin open completely is like yes, you still probably get some little like grass burn, but like I don't think that happens to that extent, like where you're bleeding profusely on the ground if you're on grass. So I don't know. I just think that's again another evident concern. So I thought the first half was really ugly. I was like, oh my god, this is terrible. I think a lot of people forget about Trinidad and Tobago is that I think it was in World Cup qualifying the first game. I think that's when it was. They held the U.S. to like a 1-0 win, I think. So, and I think that point was the U.S. playing poorly. But, I mean, ultimately it did end up being a blowout, but I think that they kept themselves in. There wasn't really a lot of attacking, but they had a lot of good defensive efforts. So, yeah, I mean, I wasn't really surprised. I do agree. I think it should have been 0-0 going into the half. I think that PK was lame completely, but it happens. We always have our thoughts on officiating, so there's that. Jackie, what were your thoughts on the second half?
I think the second half was much better play overall, better combination play, passing, and a lot more organized. Also, the game opened up a bit when Horan found Morgan, I think, for the goal. Or was that the first half? Either way.
No, the first half was the penalty.
Okay, so yeah, and then, Morgan scored, and then 10 minutes later, Press comes on, just completely opens the game up. And I thought, she made some great plays individually as well. I don't know, I think our passing overall was just a lot cleaner than the first half. And, our defense wasn't tested, I don't think, that much, so not much to say there. But overall, I think the second half was much better.
Mm-hmm. Jen, thoughts on second half?
Yeah, I agree. The second half, we did have better combination play. We could use a little bit more, and part of that, again, was switch up the field. But a lot of the chances we created in the first half, we finished in the second half. So that was good.
Yeah, I mean, I already touched on Kristen Press. I'm not going to go on that again. But I think in general, I think people were expecting the game was either going to go one or two ways. I think it was going to either stay a close 1-0, 2-0 game, or not want to say 2-0. I think it was either going to stay 1-0 or it was going to get busted wide open, and that's what happened. And I think everyone looked a lot better, and a lot of the runs that were not being able to be finished were obviously. And again, Kristen Press just come in and just bust that game open, and it was good to see Alex Morgan get a goal too, because I really feel like she worked really hard all game. So I got to see it pay off and for her to score. So rock on. Jen, any overall thoughts or not? I'm sure you have. Let's try that just again. Do you have any overall thoughts on the game?
Not really, other than what was already mentioned. The one exception being, no discredit to Trinidad and Tobago's backup keeper, but I thought Kamika Forbes was probably the reason why Trinidad and Tobago stayed in it for as long as they did.
Mm-hmm.
She took right to her side. her side probably looks like Swiss cheese right now. But she got right back up and kept going, and we just kept hammering at her, and she kept stopping them. So I give a lot of credit in that game to Kamika Forbes.
Yeah, ditto, absolutely. Jackie, final thoughts?
I'm just glad to see us finish our chances. I think this year we struggled scoring, but it was good to see him, score in front of the fans, and they gave him what they deserved. So.
Yeah, I think overall, I'm glad they look better in the second half, but I think the U.S. is going to have to, again, against perhaps other teams. This isn't to discredit Trinidad and Tobago because they did a really excellent job keeping the score so close for the whole first half and things like that. But I think against other teams, like the kind of play they had in the first half would be more hurtful to them. So I feel like that happens a lot. I feel like we've seen some good first halves this year, but I feel like we've also seen a lot of crappy first halves. We're just thankful enough that they can get it together at halftime and regroup and things like that. So I think obviously it was a great game. I would like to see them moving forward, not wait till the second half to kind of get it together and make it a game. But other than that, good game. It's always fun when they score a lot of goals. People want to see them score a lot of goals, and it was a blowout score-wise, but I think Trinidad and Tobago did a really good job with trying to keep themselves in it. And like Jen said, Forbes was really on it. And I feel like a lot of the time in general, like when Trinidad and Tobago plays, she has a big role keeping things close as they can be, or making a lot of the stops. So, all right, moving on. We got two. We're going to preview two games here. We're kind of just going to do them together as like a category because we're not going to have a show between Sunday and Wednesday. So, Jackie, what are your the U.S. plays China both games. What are your expectations going into these next games?
Well, China is a much better opponent, I think, as a team than Trinidad, but I hope Ellis plays a few other faces who we haven't seen in a while, namely one of the backup keepers, Harris, or I'm blanking Nair, sorry. Hopefully one of those two can get some playing time. I know Hope Solo's, the big ticket, big name, but, I don't think it hurts to play Nair or Sola or Harris. So, also Sonnet as well and Lavelle. I really would like to see them get in there more. And I think China will have more problems on defense than Trinidad. So it'd be nice to see some young faces back on defense.
Awesome. Jen, what are your expectations for these next games against China?
Kind of what Jackie said. I think they're going to be a little bit more problematic for us than Trinidad and Tobago. But I still expect us to come out on top. I expect us to maybe do a little bit less on the experimental front than we have been and kind of see what competitors on our team can compete for that Olympic spot going up against a team like China. They really didn't have too much opportunity to showcase the full amount of their skill against a team like Trinidad and Tobago. So against a better team, I think this is where Jill Ellis really starts looking and says, okay, who do I want in this camp? So I think we're going to see those spots now.
Yeah, I think last time they played China was another very close game. It was 1-0. Very, very close game. It was a good game. So I think it's going to be a little bit tougher. I think this is going to be a time where potentially this is maybe one of those teams where the U.S. is, if they have kind of a lackadaisical and not great first half like they did against Trinidad and Tobago, like that might come and bite them in the behind. I don't know. But I think that yes, it's interesting to see what lineups and players and subs and personnel that are used. But I think those are going to be really good games also regardless. I don't know that I would expect a blowout. I'm going to say this. I don't know that I expect a blowout. Again, last game was really close, but who knows? Watch, it'll be like 7-0. I don't think that's going to happen, but it might. I also think, Jackie, as much as I would love to, I've been, you've watched the shows, we've been saying we would love to see a backup keeper all this time. Yeah. I honestly, at this point, I don't, as much as I don't get this, I don't think we're ever going to see, I don't think we're going to see another keeper unless.
Well, okay, Ellis said that she would play solo the last 2 games of the 4, but now it's down to 3, so I think maybe the last game, I don't know. Who knows? Ellis is just, whatever. No,
I know. I'm just saying. Trust me. This has been, for even before qualifiers and everything. Now I'm just having a hard. I've something we always talk about on this show that I get it. And other people always argue, well, no other country plays their backup, but I just think you should. I don't think when you're. I think you. Why not? But at this point, I don't. If we haven't at this point seen a backup recently, I don't know that we're going to, but maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised at one point. I'm not expecting it though, but we'll see. As we're talking about this, just remind people that are watching, hashtag WoSoTalk on Twitter. Please, if you have any questions, comments, or want to just chat with us at all, use that hashtag, and we're checking it, right now during the show. So if you have any comments, we'll read them out and answer any questions. So on that note, still sticking with the theme of these games against China, Jen, what are some changes that you think the team needs to make moving forward?
I think they need to work on their finishing, for sure, particularly in the first half. I don't know if it's just the particular players that we have out there starting all at the same time or what it is. Maybe we're just a second-half team. I don't know. But I would definitely like to see us work on our finishing a little bit more. Other than that, I mean, it's not necessarily something they need to change, but I should have thrown it into my expectations. At least on the 16th, I do expect to see Abby start, and I expect it to be an entire first half of do whatever we got to do to get the ball to Abby so that she scores. So on that note, I think knowing that that's going to happen, we maybe need to strengthen our offensive power a little bit going into that game in particular, just so that our counterattack is going to be a little bit quicker. Because again, I think China could come back and fight us if they switch up the ball back in their third. We need to be able to counter quickly. So that's something that I hope to see change just in reference to that game, because I do expect to see Abby start, and I expect the team to try to get her a goal on her way out. But otherwise, I don't really think we need to change a whole lot from the tactical standpoint other than just our combination play and our finishing.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I wasn't trying, I guess just looking ahead, it almost doesn't feel real that it's Abby's last game coming up, I think. I'm we're going to talk about these games, and, totally didn't even mention that fact. I'm sure I would have looked at it and been like, oh, wait, we should talk about that. But, yeah, it's going to be really, I think I definitely agree with you. Thanks for bringing that up, that, I absolutely think she'll start. I absolutely think they're going to try to get her the ball, get another goal or so before she kind of, ends her, soccer career. Playing wise, anyways, who knows what she'll be up to in the future. But yeah, I think that's going to, speaking of lineups and things like that, that's definitely going to be, I think, a change that we will see that we haven't, necessarily seen her start. I know a lot of people when they're watching the other game, every time she kind of touched the ball, were already getting a little emotional, oh, this is one of the last games. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I know, like I said, I would have thought of it at one point, oh wait, this is Abby's last game coming up on the 16th, but. Jackie, what do you think? Is there anything that you think that the team needs to change moving forward?
Well, it's probably not a change. It's more of an improvement, but I would like to see us convert more on set pieces. And with that in mind, Pino's out, yes, but we have Tobin, Carly, Brian, Heyo, if she ever plays again, they can always take those. But, yeah, I think that piece, I'd like to see us be more dangerous. We have JJ, Wambach, Lloyd. I mean, I I don't know. I like set pieces. I like set piece goals. So hopefully we can get a few for Abby, or Abby can even get some. So yeah, it's kind of weird. 2 more games and then that's it. So yeah, it's weird. But she's ready, so I'm ready.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that, and like, we're gonna have a wrap up show after this, so we'll be able to kind of reflect more on. I know we'll probably touch more on Abby Wambach, after her last game, when we have the kind of review show for those games. But I would expect to probably see that. I'd probably expect to see, hopefully maybe more aggressive, like, set pieces. I think that, again, especially like with her in the game, they probably will want to try to get the ball to her. So, I really think that obviously she'll be the target for a lot of those set pieces that they may get during like even we think she's going to start the last game. We might still see her as a sub in the next game also, but yeah, I definitely think that she'd be the focus. I think as far as like things that change, I mentioned a lot of it already. I know Jen said maybe they're a second half team, but that could definitely be. Yeah, I think that they're definitely. Could hurt them being a second half team if that's kind of the role they're going to take. I mean, there were times in the World Cup where we had a horrible first half and we're like, oh dear God, but then he'll come back second half and make it happen. So, if that's the case, hey fans, we're in for a real long, and sometimes scary, sometimes emotional ride, because I know I get it's very nerve-wracking watching these games when they have kind of a poor first half and you're like, oh God, and they're going to get it together because they're the U.S. Women's National Team, but you still kind of go through those emotions of like, oh God, hope they have a better second half than that, and then they do, but right on. So we're going to go back to something that we talked about the other day, and there's been some development since then. There's been all kinds of like legal action talk about the canceled Hawaii game. There was some discussion about, I don't know if this was like ever official said this was definitely happening or not, but there was some discussion about like U.S. Soccer potentially filing a suit against like the Tourism and Stadium Authority, saying that they kind of like went back on their agreement, is one potential legal issue. And then what I think has been more definitely noted as it is happening, there's been a class action suit filed against U.S. Soccer, I believe. I don't know about the stadium, but I think against U.S. Soccer for people who like travel, like went to the game, traveled, spent money to get to the game, for time off work, things like that, to have it be canceled last minute. So that's all kinds of shenanigans going on. So, starting with Jen, what are your thoughts on all of these kind of legal things that we've heard potentially that are going on in the last couple days or so?
Quick note on that class action lawsuit. It is against U.S. Soccer and Aloha Stadium.
Thank you.
Yep. I think it's 2 fans that are being represented. But yeah, it's exactly what you said. The tickets are being refunded, but they're trying to get compensation for time off, for travel, all of that good stuff. So I don't know if that's going to pan out or not. I guess we'll see. But in the other case, which I don't know if it's actually happening or not, where U.S. Soccer is apparently suing Aloha Stadium, that is the biggest load of crap I've ever heard in my life. Like, that's ridiculous. First of all, you were out that Thursday, you inspected it, you didn't have an issue with it then, and then all of a sudden, because the team decided to step up and be like, yo, we got injuries, this isn't safe, here, let me pull up this turf for you to demonstrate how not safe this is. U.S. Soccer is all of a sudden like, oh God, we need to make ourselves seem like we're not the bad guys, and like throw Aloha Stadium under the bus, and that's crap. That's like absolutely ridiculous. The stadium officials did everything they could. When U.S. Soccer went out and inspected it and said they didn't have an issue with it, it was on them then. So if they are in fact suing Aloha Stadium, that's absolutely absurd, and I hope it comes back and punches them in the face because they deserve it at this point. So
All right, Jackie, your thoughts on that? Like I said, we know the class action one seems like it's actually happening. There's been some debate about rumors of the other one, but like Jen said, what are your thoughts on both? We'll talk about both of them, just in case something does materialize from the U.S. soccer suit.
I don't know. I think it's really unfair to a lot of people involved, and the U.S. Federation. I mean, they've messed up big time, and I don't know what this is gonna, how this is gonna pan out, but it's really unfortunate what's happening, and all these issues need to be addressed and taken seriously by, the Federation. So, yeah, I don't know how this is gonna play out. It's tough.
I think I'd be interested. I'd be interested before I continue. Oh, that was just, I'm like, we have a chat. It's just Jackie, though. Not just Jackie. It was just, I'm looking at the Twitter, and I was like, oh, someone commented. And it was like, it's Jackie talking to you about commenting. So never mind, I'll continue talking then. I don't know. The one reason I think that the suit from U.S. Soccer might not happen is because U.S. Soccer and Sunil Gulati flat out said we screwed up and made multiple errors. So I think that that's very strange. And I think that that kind of would hurt your legal chances for having a successful suit once you've admitted that you've made mistakes and that it's your fault, essentially. So I know that there's rumors about that going on. I think the statement from U.S. Soccer came out maybe after those rumors had gone around, so I don't know if we'll hear any update on that, but it was a rumor that went around. I don't know if that will actually happen, like I said, especially since they've admitted that the U.S. Soccer messed up and made a series of mistakes and need to do better. So I don't really know if that will happen, like I said, just because I feel like it's very hard to sue somebody when you've admitted that you made mistakes. If they were to go forward with a lawsuit after saying that, I think that's really messed up because you've admitted that it was your fault, and then to go and sue someone and say that it's not, I'm really confused. So I don't really know. I don't really think that that will happen. People, if you're watching, even if you watch it later on tomorrow, any day, and you know any more information than that, shoot us a tweet or something like that. Let us know. As far as the class action one, I don't know what's going to happen with that either. But it was interesting to note when I read that when I was reading the article that mentioned the class action suit, the people who are representing these fans, actually, I guess I don't want to say somewhat successful suit. It was never ruled on in like a court, but it was settled. They had an issue with Aerosmith was supposed to come play a concert, and I don't know the specifics of what happened, why they didn't, or when it was canceled. Was it last minute? Not sure, but they had settled out of court with Aerosmith, and they came and played a free show back in Hawaii. So I don't know what will happen with this thing, but I do know that it's interesting that the people who are filing the suit, the people who they're being represented by, have had, we'll say, some success because, it didn't get settled on like legally officially in court, but it got settled at some point, which resulted in, maybe not any kind of monetary compensation, but they got a free show out of it. So who knows? Interesting. So I guess I'll have to see what happens with those. I think it has potential to get messy. Either way, but hopefully, regardless, they can kind of get, I guess the legal things can get not pushed to the side, but we can, kind of move on from the legal aspects. Hopefully they kind of get settled quickly. People can focus more on the issues that we've talked about with the actual, gender inequality and things like that. Although I did see, again, I can't remember where I saw it from, that someone from U.S. Soccer said that all the games in 2016 will be played on grass. I don't know if I read that from the U.S. Soccer release, but I read from, I believe, one of the many people who are awesome and post about women's soccer and the national team that that's something that was said. So hopefully, I have my facts straight and that was something that was said, and if so, they actually stick to that and will play all the games in 2016 on grass because, obviously after this kind of fiasco, it seems like the best thing to, even without, it's a shame this had to happen to bring this to bring it to light again, but, hopefully that's the case and they do play in grass. Jackie, were you going to say something?
No, I was just going to say that, yeah, you're right. For Pino and Cap to get injured and then for it to just blow up in everyone's faces, that's like the worst thing, and it's heartbreaking for them, but, yeah, it just sucks.
All right. So that's kind of what we had to talk about at the moment. We're going to just, the one time I said we're going to keep, I didn't say we're going to keep it a short show. It has been fairly short, but we're going to try to wrap this up quickly. Anyone have any rants? We'll go with brief rants today because I know I could rant forever, but I'm going to keep mine short too. Jen, you have anything that you would like to briefly rant about that you're kind of annoyed, upset with, whatever, etc.?
Yeah, Trinidad and Tobago. They were like one goal away from qualifying for the World Cup. It came down to like their last game, and they lost it by a goal. They're a great team. They're a developing team. I expect to see them go far in the upcoming years. And yet here we are in the year 2015, almost 2016, and U.S. Soccer had to give them a loan because they weren't being paid and almost boycotted this last game. That should not be happening. In no way should anything similar to that be happening. We saw something similar with the Matildas earlier this year where they went on strike, trying to just make a living. This team was not being paid at all. They had to get a loan from the U.S. Soccer Federation so that they could get paid to come here and play these games, and that to me is disgusting. And our team, yes, we're the world champions. Yes, we're being mistreated as well. Tobin Heath to me is like steel. Like, she doesn't dive, she doesn't do any of that crap. So when I see her going out there, getting basically skinned alive and needing treatment on the side of the field, that's horrific. And we're world champions. So to see, where we stand, but then also to look at the broader picture and see these other teams that aren't being paid, are barely being paid, maybe don't even have fields to play on. And these are teams that are in contention. I mean, they're great teams. They're almost World Cup qualifying teams. It's disgusting, and I'm angry, and something needs to be done about it.
Word. Well said, Jen. I think that was something that people were talking about. Also, like if the world champions are being kind of treated this way, just think about other teams, like you said, that are not world champions but are still great teams that have nothing really, and that's kind of messed up. But so thanks for bringing that up. That's a great point. Jackie, do you have anything you'd like to rant about? I know it's been a while. I don't know if anything's pent up or anything.
This might take a while. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I think what Jen said, she's completely right, and it kind of shows that women's soccer still has a very long way to go, and that's all across the world. Not just us. France, England, China, and even the other countries. But and I think the one nation, one team motto, yeah, that's got to go. That's a joke at this point. There's different standards for each team, and I was joking with somebody the other day about the Twitter handles, how it's U.S. Soccer's the men's, and we have, WNT behind ours. What if they switched it and see how, the men, if they would care about it, that's or not, I don't know. But I just think as a whole, the gender discrimination, like Abby said, enough is enough. At what point is change going to happen, serious change? So we're still waiting for that, but like we said, we just keep winning and keep on going. So I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Great rants this week. I know we haven't had rants in a while. This is great. My rant is not national team directed, and I'm sure people know where this is going to go. My rant, and I'm going to be very brief, my rant is NWSL Western New York Flash related. Shocking, I know. So nothing official, but from Orlando Sentinel, I believe, is the website, and from other people who, again, know things about soccer have now confirmed that this is the thing that's happening. Apparently the Flash are sending Becky Edwards and Kristen Edmonds to the Pride. Remember that time that I was really considering wanting to like the Pride? I don't know about that. Not because it hurts because I love those players, two of my favorite players. But what are the Flash doing? And to make things worse, sounds like they may be getting a pair of draft picks for them, which I really don't understand, because I think to trade either player for like a draft, I mean especially Becky Edwards, who was by far one of the more solid people on the Flash last year, for a draft pick. What are we doing? I don't know. I don't understand the Flash last year. We're talking about bringing Edwards in to be a leader and like a stable part of the team and everything like that, and then just a year later she's being traded. And with this still a very young team, Brittany Taylor's gone now. So where is like the veteran leadership coming from? I don't know. You had Edwards was the like co-captain of the team with Edwards, and now not Edwards. Sorry, that is Edwards. Edwards was the co-captain with Taylor, and now they're both gone. So I'm really confused about that. And I understand, a lot of people probably don't want to play in Western New York, but and I know you want to have a happy player. You don't want to keep players there who don't want to be there. However, if no one wants to be there, if that's the case, I don't know if that's why this trade is happening. I'm just saying, if no one wants to be there, maybe it's time for the team to look at why that is. Like, why does nobody want to play here? I know sometimes the weather sucks and the field sucks and it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, but there's got to be other reasons for that. And so my little mini rant will end with being annoyed that two of the strongest players, I'd say two of the stronger players on the team, and, people who last year we said, they're veterans on the team. Becky Edwards was going to be a veteran on the team, leader on the team, and now she's gone. Well, not officially, but will be gone. So, I don't know. I'm really hoping the whole draft pick portion of that is not true, but again, reliable people have said that's kind of what's coming back to the Flash. So this is not really a strong draft by any means either. So I don't know what trading for draft picks. I don't know that that's helpful, especially not for Becky Edwards and Kristen Edmonds, who's a solid player also. So that's my rant. Flash killing me once again. So that's it. Excuse me. That's, when we got into NWSL season, I'm sure I'll have a lot more to say about all that. But just had to get that out there because I was like, wait, what happened? Didn't read the whole release on. It was like buried in the Steph Catley to Orlando press release. And then people were like, Courtney, what do you think? And I was like, wait, what? So I had to go back and read it again and was like, what are we doing?
There's some good news. You guys got Becca Moros.
That's great. Yes. That's like the one good thing. That's the one really happy moment I am. And excuse me, Abby Erceg, Leon also, but they might be gone for the Olympics, so I don't know. I'm not gonna woo about that yet because who knows. But that's my rant. That's it. Any last words, anyone, before we wrap this up in a reasonable amount of time?
No.
Great. All right. So that was actually not that bad. Got through everything this week. We're gonna be back. I think we finally decided time change. Note the time change. We'll be posting about it on our social media too. We're going to be back on Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, so an hour later than we normally are on Friday the 18th. So join us then. We're going to be talking about the last games against China and Abby Wambach's retirement, things like that, and any other news that happens between now and Friday. So again, this was our lovely Off the Post preview/review. And like I said, we'll be back Friday, 7:30 p.m., so join us then, and thanks for watching. Bye, wave, everyone. Bye.